All right, welcome to Talk About Paint Club. I'm Rick Strohmeyer. I have nothing to talk about, so have a good night. No.
I'm Matt Hatches, and I have not been here for a very, 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 very long time. So hi.
All right, so let's see. It is Saturday, the 13th of April, 2024, and yeah, we are back on a scheduled day. So, welcome everybody, past, present, and future. And why is my iPad my dumbass shit? All right. Technical difficulties as we go along. All right. So let's see. Before we go into everything else, let's do just the tiniest bit of housekeeping. All right. So it's been a while since we've been able. Oh, there it is. It's been a while since we've had regularly scheduled day show week. So Nicole was kind enough to rummage her wheel of color for today. So we will actually have a color of the month for April. That's exciting. And yeah, so this is the middle show of the month. We'll have one more, and then we go silent for a couple weeks. I don't believe there's anything too pressing next week to have a postponement or a different time period or time broadcast time. So yeah, so we might run 2 weeks in a row of regularly scheduled content.
You know what next week is, right?
The 20th.
It's the holiest of highly days.
It's the 20th.
The holiest of high.
You celebrate the way you do.
I celebrate every day, but yeah.
All right. Well, I'm trying to get this thing. I mixed a special color for this thing, and I'm like, I don't think I can show it on live. So I'm just desperately trying to get it to where like all my paint is used. Okay, so let's see. I gotta crack open the thing. So let's see. We are. Yeah. Okay. So Nicole, what are you drinking tonight?
So I can stay awake.
Ooh, there you go. I almost did that. Like, I didn't finish my coffee this morning, so I just put some press and seal over top of it, and I was like, I'll ice it up later. And then, like, I had everything but that coffee today.
And then you were like, damn, I wish I had that coffee today.
Well, let's see, what time is it? An hour and a half ago, Alicia's like, I just opened some wine. You want to drink some with me and watch a movie? And I'm like, yes. But then I won't be painting on the show. And so, and it was at 6:30. I almost just canceled everything so I could just drink wine with my wife and watch bad movies. So there is that.
Who cares? But you can do it when we log off.
No, dude, I'm painting something kind of against the clock right now because dude needs it by the 24th. So yeah, no. Today I was like, Alicia's like, how long do you think this is going to take you? And I'm like, if it takes beyond the weekend, I'm going to be pissed. So everything's going super on this little piece, which I'm all right with. I made a deal so I could like get some 3D printing done for some painting. So not bad, not a bad deal. Just like do it at a time constraint. I'm like, okay, well, great. And he sent me half my 3D printing with the piece that I'm painting. So that's pretty good. And hopefully, and let's see. So starting Monday, the project that I got my 3D printing for is going to be started. So everything's just going by super quick for this particular thing. Let's see. Yeah, and let's see what else. There's something I wanted to talk about that's local, but I don't have. It's an event that's happening in May, and I don't have all of my details for it yet. So I just don't feel like I don't have my details yet. I don't feel like talking about the event as a whole. It sounds selfish as fuck, but yeah.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
fine.
so yeah. Let's see what else. Yeah. All right. So you're drinking coffee. I got water. Let's see. So there you go. All right. So we don't have a color of the month. I don't remember last time we participated in it. I think the last color we did was neon orange. Um, so yeah. So let's just jump right into spinning the wheel of color and see where we land, Nicole.
Okay. Um, we picked a new word as wolf.
What? We picked a new word?
I thought so because that
Oh
isn't.
yeah, because you let a viewer do it.
Yeah.
What's the new word?
It's wolf. Oh wait, it's over.
Wolf.
Where is it?
No, I
It's
don't
over
remember. Dude, I don't remember anything.
here.
Dude, I have less RAM than a Commodore 64. Shout out to all my 80s babies who remember playing on those fucking things.
It's just. Oh wait, no, I picked it in here. So wait, what am I talking about? I forgot. I was looking at the chart. I'm like, I made this. What would I call it? It's like a like a like an ultramarine, but a little bit lighter. Like the this isn't helping it because it's.
What's the name of the color?
It doesn't say it on the fucking Sharpie.
Okay.
Remember, I made the wheel with random stuff
Oh, yeah, yeah.
in that box. So it's like, hold on, let me put my flashlight on it. It's like, eh, it's like a shade lighter than ultramarine. I don't know what I would call it.
Okay. So, ultramarine blue and one shade
Yeah,
lighter.
fuck it.
We got an fuck it for the color. No, dude. All right, so ultramarine blue, but go one shade lighter. We can do that. All right, so let's see. So, the great big question: what have you been doing lately?
Um, as you know, getting medical diagnoses. So, long story short, so I'm not making this a sad story and
You
shit.
have to speak up a little,
Um,
Nicole.
not to sound like a sad sap. So we're gonna make it real fast. Bitch got fibromyalgia. It's a nerve disorder. It's been hard to use my hands and my arms and my anything and my neck and pretty much anything that functions. On medication, so we're all good now and now optimistically getting back to work. That's
Okay,
what I've been working on. Getting
where's your
better.
mic? I'm gonna pester you one more time. Where's your microphone so you can speak into it?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I I don't know if it's up here on my iPad or if it's. I'm
Okay.
gonna assume it's down low. Is it lower? Is it like on the bottom? I don't know.
Dude, I don't know.
Not sure. I can like scream if you want.
Well, you will have to talk up. Like it's not like my volume is high or low on my headset, but like if I'm having a hard time, other people are gonna have a hard time. So like
Yep.
it's gonna like it may sound like a weird one. It might be like me just be,
I can try to lift up my iPad because it's on the bottom, but I don't know.
okay.
I can
All
only
right.
like lift it up so much, I guess. Not sure. And can only bring it like so close to me. So I'm gonna just stop my video while I do this.
All right. Okay. So let's put that away. I don't know if I can show this, so I'm not going to. That's the rule of thumb, right? If you don't know, don't. Okay. That's right. Oh, weird. That's weird. Hello, everybody. Okay, so let's see. What are we gonna talk about tonight? I don't know what we're talking about tonight. All right, so I have a million things to show, and yeah, let's see.
Start showing them while I try to figure this out because I don't
I
know
have
how
to.
to elevate this like without
I have to.
breaking stuff.
All right. God damn it! I did not prepare as well as I would like to for tonight, but that's all right. We're going to have. Let's see. Um, all right. So we have. There's a show going on right now with ETC Toys at Toy du Jour over in Chicago, and I have the joy of being in that show for a platform called Space Squatch, and yeah, so I'm going to actually not have gloves on. So I'm probably going to grab a piece that I finished. Uh, that was shown last week, but we got Nicole here, so we're gonna pretend like nothing ever happened, and that Nicole gets to see stuff for the first time, and that's fun too. All right, so let's see. I'm going to grab my for the show for Space Squatch, and yeah, like this was fun because we weren't allowed to show this for a we weren't allowed to show this until a very close deadline. So it wasn't like if you finished a month ago, you were able to show off your pieces. So it was pretty much like, fuck. Guys, help me out here. So yeah, this is my, so this is one of my two Space Squatches. I don't know how it's showing up on the screen, which is, come on, dude. How is it showing up? Anyway, yeah. So is it in full view? Excellent. Yeah. Anyway, so this is my merman variant of the Space Squatch. I ended up doing Masters of the Universe colorways or themes, color schemes, because yeah, and so I did Merman and Beastman, and couldn't be happier with the way they came out. So that's the Merman one, and I am desperately trying to look at other things too. Yeah, all right, and that's the Merman one, and then there's my Beast Man, and they both look like they should be in Euro death metal cover bands, and I think they're fun. And I painted the helmets are separate, and I painted them to look not kind of to look like uh, hockey masks, the way that goalies nowadays have their very elaborate fucking hockey masks. And I was like, yeah, let's do that. So conceptually, there's that. And then I varnished this, so actually I have two pieces. One is unvarnished. Let's see. So I had this piece that was set off that I bought right during the pandemic. And there we go. And I bought this during the pandemic, or at the beginning of it, because somebody in the community needed to unload some stuff, and I ended up buying it from it to help a buddy out. And after painting it yellow, it has sat around in my studio for too long, so I decided I'd finally get it painted up, and it came out super, if I do say so myself. And this, for the past month, I'd say month, I've been grabbing a lot of stuff that's just been partially done. That's one of the nice things I do like about a workflow ethic that I started hounding on since we started the show, is grabbing shit that's been in limbo on the and painting it to completion. And the old preach was to just if you're practicing some other technique, grab something that's in limbo to see if you like it before you put it on the masterpiece platform. And so by doing so, there's several pieces that I've painted up in a I don't want to say basic, but just a simplified method of seeing how a technique or method works. And so that's helped clear off the workload, right? But then I've got stuff that is just there it is, and for one reason or another, unmotivated to want to actually paint it. And I had this piece that I shared on Instagram already, by George Sokasodits. Look at that. And haha. And I painted that up this week for 2 weeks. And I really dig the way I like my treatment of the whole thing. So before this, it was very more colors than you can imagine. I put patterns all over the place, and when I decided I would update it and finish it, I decided I pumped the brakes a bunch to make it a little more simplified, but more unified at the same way, where I put a more limited palette all around. But by doing so, I have blue that goes up because this root, the hand, the face, they're all blue. The yellow highlights everything around here. There's just a little bit of red elsewhere. And then on the back, I ended up just doing it as a simple light effect. And yeah, I'm very pleased the way it came out. And yeah, it was a pleasure to paint. And then also on my wheel of things to do, or shelf of things to do, also by George Sokasodits, was I had a series of pumpkins that there we go. Let's do it that way. That I threw together. They were all started, and then I just put them off to the side. Um, Partly because attitude at the time just said put them away, and they got put back onto the shelf so far back that they just got ignored, which is kind of unfortunate. And so I pulled them back out, and course of 2 nights with the right motivation and the right vibes, I just sat down and just started painting it. And next thing you know, it's morning, and I'm saying good morning to Alicia as she's getting ready for work, and I'm still painting on the fucking things. Um, Dylan, you're so late. You're so late. It looks like you took a lesson from somebody else that we no.
Don't. Not tonight. Not tonight.
It's all right. So yeah, so it's been fun just grabbing those things, and like I as much as I love doing a lot of the airbrushing and a lot of the base coats and just getting colors to mature and turn have the transitions that they do. I do like being able to just like sit down and have that little bit of focus to um, just self-stimulate on the idea of building up the details. So like once you start putting the details, like, ooh, that's pretty, and then just letting that incremental success just build up and go, like I'm having a good time because because everything's coming out well, and it's like it's beyond the shitty phase. So everything's beyond the shitty phase. So it's just like cool. It all looks pretty because it's supposed to, for lack of a better term. So yeah, those guys were pretty nice to work on. Just as fun as a Groman piece. Wink. And then let's see. Oh, come on, dude. All right. And then let's see. And then I started screen printing again. So like, meanwhile, since last we saw each other, yeah. So the makerspace, we have a very rudimentary setup for being able to do screen printing, and I was shown the facilities about a month ago in terms and just like how does the exposure table work, how do they clean screens, what kind of emulsion do they use there and stuff. And once I was shown all of that, I was like, oh cool, when do I get to use this? And the guy showing me was pretty cool. It was very much like show one, do one, teach one. And so now, long story short, I've been volunteered into teaching other people how to do screen printing because the guy who showed me is like, well, this is what we have set up, but I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm like, cool, I love your setup. I do know what we're doing.
Makes it easy.
So yeah, it's like cool. I was like, I have years of experience doing screen printing and shit. And when I was showing him how I used to do things in college, he was like, that's not what I learned online. I'm like, that's all right. Like, online isn't everything. So I was showing some weird hacks and stuff, and it was just like, oh, that's different from what we taught ourselves. I'm like, that's cool. So yeah, like once upon a time, I thought I was going to graduate school, and when the facility I went to interview for printmaking, the professor's like, "Oh, I'm so excited that you're a screen printer. Why is that?" Because you'll be building, and he said, because you'll be building the screen printing lab. And I'm like, what? What? I thought you had one. He's like, we do. And he opens up this door, and it's just everything's there. but nothing is set up. And I was like, oh, cool. I'm going to be figuring out a the workflow station. I'm going to be figuring out this, and this. And I'm like, I'm going to be designing it the way I got my bachelor's degree. Like I'm gonna base it off of the lab that I just graduated from. And long story short, I did not go to graduate school. I wish I did. But by the time I graduated college, I was so burnt out about not wanting to do anything. Going to graduate school it sounded cool, but when did you get a bully as a tattoo?
Last year.
Last year? Oh my gosh.
Cash did it.
Who did it?
Cash. No, not
Who's
even
that?
last year. Cash Cannon or For the Love of Everything? You would know his work if you saw it.
Okay. Did you get it at 5 points?
No, I got it at his shop in White Plains, like near me.
Oh, okay. All right, Dylan, you're late, but what are you drinking tonight? Oh my gosh. All right. So the what are you drinking question, that I have stolen that from the Bunny Mischief show with Alex always asking that question, right? And
Yeah.
my heart goes out to Alex tonight, just because I got to see his Facebook update. Ah, an espresso martini because I'm a classy bitch. Dude, I love that. That's rad.
What happened with Alex?
He lost a toe.
Diabetes?
Yep. So I was like, yeah, I'm like,
diabetes.
now you need a tattoo that says this little piggy went wee wee wee. But
All the way home.
no, but in all seriousness, like my heart goes out to my buddy and wishing him a speedy recovery on the loss of a part. That's rough. Like nobody should lose their parts. Should be taking it easy. You were in NOLA. No wonder you didn't join me on the show or join the show. Oh, you were at WrestleMania, weren't you?
No, that was in Philadelphia.
All right. So let's see what else we got tonight. All right. So, yeah. So last week I did a precursor to talk about 5 of my favorite additives to add to paint because paint isn't always perfect the way it comes out of the pot, and you may need to add something to it for a different effect or just for it to behave differently. And yeah, so I pulled out Noah's Nicole was drunkenly eating shrimp. What? I don't know.
Were you drunkenly eating shrimp? Anyways.
No, as Nicole knows, I was drunkenly eating shrimp po' boy at 3 in the morning in my hotel like a fat one. I've never had a po' boy, so a shrimp po' boy, shrimp sandwich. That sounds like something the ladies' man would say. Hey, baby doll, can I buy you a shrimp sandwich? No, so last week we had our if you watched the recorded live from Monday, you're gonna be things are gonna be a little repeat. So we had our annual Lord of the Rings marathon last week, and it was a lot of fun. Always is very rewarding, and the the heart and belly. And yeah, so let's see. I wanted to. We're
What
going to
potatoes did
let's
you
see.
make this time?
So what?
What potatoes did you make?
Okay, that's great. So we had potatoes fondant. I made both sweet
Nice.
potatoes and russet potatoes of this variety. So the joy of this is you cut potatoes to be half the size of one of the flat bottles. So about 2 inches in diameter, if you can, 2 inches tall. But you cut them into cylinders, but you have to have like a uniform height, preferably a uniform volume. But it's potato, and I am not an accurate sculptor. So as long as my height is about 2 inches and the top and bottom are flat, so I can flip them, um, I consider that a win. So you start out, you cut them all in cylinders, so that way they're peeled and they're beautiful, and then you heat up a pan, or some folks will do a not wrought iron, cast iron skillet, and that's the way I first did it. First couple times I did it. This time I just did it all in a Dutch oven. So put a grease in the Dutch oven. We used bacon grease, and I was also I took I threw uh, chunks of bacon in there to also render that down. So you put the potato cylinders down, let them sear to a golden brown, if not a little darker, and then you flip them over to do that on the other side. After you flip them over, you introduce a different type of grease. I added butter and let that sear. Watch the butter turn to its own golden brown, and after it turns to golden brown, throw um, chicken stock in there, cover it, put it in the oven for 40 minutes. And so you have seared on both sides and then steamed in the middle. It's delightful with garlic, salt, and pepper added. It comes out delightful. And yeah, and it works great with sweet potatoes too. And I totally forgot to add thyme to it, which is just fine because the potatoes have been reheated and put in different things like Mexican food, but because it's only, excuse me, because it was only seasoned with salt, pepper, and garlic, that it makes them pretty universal for other dishes too. And dude, yes. So the first year we went all out and made every meal and regretted it. Of course, we only had 3 movies to watch at the time because that was 13 years ago. After the first year of doing this, we decided we don't have to do every fucking meal. And because of that, it makes things a little easier on digestion and stuff. So Friday night was chicken and stuffing made in the crock pot, which came out super. It's something I've been doing off and on for the past year, and it's good enough to where, like, yeah, you only need a handful of components to make it work, and it only takes 4 hours in the crock pot, so it works out pretty well. And then we ended up having guests over, and they brought dessert for Friday, so that meant Friday's dessert got pushed to Saturday, and Saturday's dessert got pushed to Sunday, and it was all great. When we got to Saturday, we ate one breakfast, and when the guys came over, we had kind of a brunch. But like for most of Saturday, we had a lot of like cheese platters and shit and bread and crackers and stuff out throughout the day because I was in the kitchen making potatoes and the roast and getting, and I made skillet cookies for Saturday, and instead of chocolate chip, I made cinnamon chip cookies, and with
Like a
ice cream.
snickerdoodle with cinnamon? Or
No, just you make a chocolate chip cookie dough and put cinnamon chips in it instead.
cinnamon
And
chips. Okay.
cinnamon chips. A snickerdoodle is a sugar cookie with cinnamon and sugar sprinkled on top. And we had ice cream to go on top of it. And that was super nice. And then Sunday um, we had some leftover stuff, some the cheese and crackers and bread plate and shit and jellies and donut bread pudding. And yeah, the donut bread pudding came out like it's been that's been a long standing tradition for a few years. Um, oh, and we made the honey cakes again, which like we've been making the honey cakes since the beginning, and it's super good. like we had one of my buddies gave us a couple bottles of really fancy cider for our wedding, and we opened those up for the event. And one was pretty dry. One tasted like champagne almost, and the other one didn't.
Mm.
Um, but I was happy to drink both. Um, and yeah, it was a pretty good event. Um, I had one of my buddies who was supposed to join couldn't, and he had gone to the art battle with me the week before, and I was like, "Sorry, you can't come. I will make a couple plates for you. So all you have to do is come by, and you can have some leftovers of the exact same shit we ate." And he ended up leaving with a grocery bag full of like containers because there was just a little bit of everything for him.
Sounds very
And
good.
that's cool because yeah. So yeah, right now, yeah. So at the same, so as we're doing this, the Toy du Jour is having its show for the Space Squatch. So my unfortunately, unfortunately, but my iPad over here is giving me like I'm looking at it because it's giving me all kinds of notifications, and I should just turn there we go, the do not disturb on. There we go. Excuse me, all.
I have
Yeah. So
I have a show next week with Plastic Pizza, but they have not given me the okay to post the picture yet. So
yeah. No, that's like I'm really good. I'm really good about not showing stuff for any show until need be. And I thought, yeah, it's like I had apparently leaked one of the space squatches early, and somebody was like, "Hey, that's too soon." So like, ooh, and so like within 20 minutes of me posting it, it was down um, until like until about 3 days ago. But yeah, when we were told, "Oh yeah, go ahead, now it's time to share," I totally spaced what day it was and the timing for that. So when I shared yesterday, I was already like, or no, yes, when I shared Thursday, I was like, I'm late, and I don't like being late.
mm,
Yeah, weird fuck up on my part. Um,
I was really worried
yeah.
that I wasn't going to be able to get the stuff done for Plastic Pizza because I've been broken. And if anybody knows what gabapentin is, I'm only on day 4, but
Oh yeah, I
my
know what that
arms
is.
my arms can move a little bit better.
That's good.
Yeah. You want to know something fun? So I don't. You know this. You know my fun party tricks with my arms and how they bend all weird and stuff.
Yeah,
So I shouldn't be doing that.
yeah.
It's actually a syndrome. It's a hypermobility syndrome that genetically like active. I don't know. It made me have this bullshit. And the doctor straight up was like, "Your party tricks aren't fun anymore, are they?" I was like, "Sure the fuck aren't."
Oh wow.
I was like, "Why
So
didn't anyone tell me this beforehand? Like, I wouldn't have been like bending my fingers backwards and doing all this shit for 30 fucking years."
hmm.
So if you're double jointed, it's not a blessing; it's a fucking curse.
Hmm. Okay.
And then I made my foot doctor. Like I went to see him the other day, and I told him everything, and he was just like, "Oh, that makes a lot of sense." Blah blah blah. And we were talking about how I might need to have a fourth foot surgery. We're not doing that right now with this conversation, but it would be maybe. We'll see what happens after the gabapentin thing. And he was like, "It's a lot easier than moving your nerve like we did the last time." And I was like, "Oh, so you're the reason I have fibromyalgia because it's like it's when you like when you like traumatize a nerve in you." And I was just like, "So you're the fucking reason we're here." And he looked at me like, I'm like,
Nicole.
I'm just kidding.
Just
We're friends, him and I. We could do that.
so a
Friends with
month
your
ago,
doctors.
well, I am. I'm not friends, but my general practitioner. I really like. Like I've had such good conversations with her the past few years to where like, yeah,
And that's so important. People don't realize how important it is to have like a good rapport like that with your
that's what Dr. Mike said. Which is why I was like one day when I had to have a conversation with my doctor, I was like, "You ever watch this guy on YouTube?" She's like, "No." I'm like, he advocates for people to have as upfront conversations with their doctors as possible. And she's like, "Oh, okay." And we have to have one. She said, "Oh, okay." And when we were done, I was like, "Wow, that's the best talk I've ever had with the doctor." And she's like, "I'm glad you feel that way." And, yeah. So, like, I guess a month ago, I ended up because of the stigmata in my left hand, I ended up seeing a hand surgeon for it, and because I got stitched up, and but it still hurt, and like can't high five Puka because it hurts, and the hand surgeon gave me all kinds of options and stuff, and the least invasive, of course, was a steroid shot on the spot, and damn if it doesn't seem to have done the trick. Which like he told
I
me
don't know.
that's a hideous looking. He's like, that's a hideous looking scar. I'm like, yeah. Do you want to see the drill bit that it did it? And so he's like, he advocated for the idea of like, we could go in there and cut you open, but I'm going to advise against it. So he gave me all the options, and I'm like, let's do the shot. And I've been very grateful that I got it because it hasn't hurt. I've had to do some routines to stretch it and put and massage it at nights, but that's just like at night I put lotion on my hands, so that just gets worked in with it. But like, yeah, the hand is functional. Like it seems to be all back in mostly. Hey, Kimmy, it seems to be back in mostly working order, which when did I do this in November? So that's pretty decent turnaround, right? So 6 months, not even. Um, Not like I'm Wolverine or anything. And man, yeah.
Anatomy. I can't say it.
That's right, adamantium.
Adamantium. There we go.
Adamantium. There you go. All right, so let's see. And then let's see. Last week was was a show at Ghost Fox, which I was happy to push, but could push it, but didn't. Or push it, except watching my phone blew up while I was just like hanging out with everybody watching the shows, or movies, and that show was just like everything's blowing up, and I'm like, I can't look at my phone right now. What a terrible thing to have to do. Yeah. So like, All right, so we watch the Lord of the Rings, right? We do not watch the Rings of Power Amazon show, even though we enjoyed it. We just don't put that as part of the the movie saga because, of course, if we did, we'd have to start on Wednesday or Tuesday, and we'd probably just have a whole Lord of the Rings fucking week. So we don't include the shows, and we're all cool with that. So yeah, no, we opened our doors up to have two new people in for this. Some one of them was a friend from Alicia's work and his husband, and it was a lot of fun. Good guys. They were happy to bring stuff to contribute, but at the same time, Alicia told they were like, "Oh, what can we bring?" And Alicia's like, "Nothing. Don't bring a thing." And they thought that was very weird, and I would too, because like especially from being from the South, you always show up with something, right?
Absolutely.
And but with having two extra mouths to feed, plus my buddy who didn't show up, who ended up getting like a plate of everything, we still had leftovers for a week. Because and we didn't alter the recipes to be like, oh, we have to make more because we're going to have more people. No, we have done this enough to know it's a lot of food. And yeah, even like with one of the dishes that was made, we know it would last us 2, 3, 4 nights worth of leftovers. So to have like three extra mouths to help eat it was super nice. It was nice to have like extra company in the house, but really, like, we didn't have to adjust anything in terms of meal prep, like, which was kind of nice. Like maybe I bought a bigger pig roast. Maybe I bought a bigger shoulder roast, but it's not like I went out of my way to get a bigger roast. And I probably threw in one extra piece of chicken into the crock pot. So it wasn't like a massive amount of adjustment. It's just like all these recipes are big and they'll feed like anything I pulled out for this event would have been our contribution to a big Thanksgiving uh, potluck and yeah. So pretty successful. You know, yeah, pretty successful. And like it was nice enough to where I kind of wish I grilled one of the days because like 60 degrees and it's nice, right? No, and yeah. So yesterday was nice enough to where uh, no, so 2 days ago, took the like Alicia and I came home and I was like, oh, I got to walk the dogs. So walk the dogs after dinner, and it started raining while I was walking Munin. Munin's always the first to be walked, and so it's rain. It starts raining. We come in and Puka's like, "Okay, I'm ready." I'm sorry, buddy. It's raining. I'm not exposing you to any more humidity than I have to. So Alicia's more heartfelt than he is, but he didn't get to go. And I was like, I will compensate you tomorrow, as if he's going to understand this compensation. So we went to uh, the lake that is right up the street from me. The lake, Como Lake, is huge. It's a mile and a half around, but the park is huge. The park has its own zoo, a golf course, and blah 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 blah. All kinds of outdoor activity shit, right? And it's huge. It's bigger than some towns. Um, so I took Puka there, and mainly because he's the only dog that since I've moved up to Minnesota, he's the only dog that hasn't been there. I used to take my first Sharpei there all the time. I was her happy walking stomping grounds, and then her predecessor or her successor would go there. And I took Munin there on occasion until the pandemic hit. But I've never taken Puka there. And funny enough, the other three dogs all knew that the one spot they all had to mark. So there's a sacred marking spot that Puka has finally been able to add his
His
scent
to.
to, which is
Aw.
which is cute and funny at the same time, right? So like by the time when we got there, I was
It's
like,
kinda
oh look,
hilarious, not gonna lie.
yeah, it's like cool, your ancestral marking ground. And so we got to
The
the spot.
Strohmeyer dog marking ground.
Yeah. So we got to the spot. I'm shooting a little video of just like, oh yeah, look at this is what it is. This is where it is. They've modified it a little. Here's Puka, and next thing you know, there's Puka like lifting his leg to go pee on a trash can. And as he's lifting, I'm like, and we're not going to video this. And I'm like, cool.
Why not? It's
You've
nature.
done your, because I may upload it to YouTube, and nobody wants to see a pissing dog on YouTube. So yeah, he like okay, without fail, my boy who's hyper territorial, just like all the other Sharpays, has made his mark, and then we walked around the lake, which was pretty, a little cool because breezy and the wind, it's right off the lake, and we got to the last spot where like my dog Smog once pooped 7 freaking times around the lake.
You had a fucking
And
dog
one of
named
the times,
Smog.
yeah,
Love it.
yeah, what a great dog. And I think Kimmy would remember that one. Anyway, yeah, so that dog once pooped 7 times around the lake. And the last time, I cannot describe it on I won't describe it here. But needless to say, it was gross. And we're Puka and I are walking, and we get to like what I consider the last spot to poo or pee, and he's just like, "This is it," and he rears his butt against the tree, like, "Oh, he's gonna pee." No, he poops on the tree to make it just like. Thanks. You've made this very difficult for me. I know this part was about you, but I now have to clean the tree off.
Welcome to Talk
Thanks,
About Poop Club.
Thanks, guy. Yeah. The joy of Poop Club.
Yeah, I'm not very good with dogs poop when it's warm.
So,
Like I need a few
so
minutes.
he I had my own flashback of working in the special ed program this week, because he's at the far point of my part of the backyard, and I'm like, oh, I need to go get him, and he's just standing there like this, and he's looking at the back door, and his butt is at the back door, and I'm like, what is wrong with you? Oh dear. And I have to go run into the house, grab my flip-flops, and because I do have a painting station downstairs, I just grab a pair of the gloves that's right there, and I have to go because of all the things that Puka eats or swallows, Munin's hair does get to be some of that. So he's got a turd hanging off his butt
Oh dear Jesus.
because of one of Munin's long ass hairs. It's hanging from his butt. And by the time I get there, racing with flip flops and putting gloves on, stumbling, he's trying to do this. And I'm like, no, 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 no. He does not put his mouth in contact with the turd because I got there in time. But I'm like, and he doesn't freak out that I'm racing over there to get him. He's just like, I need help. And there I am, ready to render aid. I'm just like, oh, I'm going to have to grab a turd right out of his butt, but end the hair. and this is what we're talking about at 9 o'clock at night.
You gotta be careful. I mean, like, this is not me trying to be all like depressing and shit, but you gotta be careful with that shit. Because I had a kitten who swallowed string, and like when I was like a teenager, and it tied around her intestines, and she died. Yep.
You wouldn't believe what I've found in little kids' diapers.
No, I know, but I'm saying you gotta be careful with the animals.
Oh,
With like, you know, I mean, you can't help fucking if he's eating a damn dog's hair, but. I actually last week for Good Friday I swam. I was the assistant for, or I guess I was leading because we had one autistic kid with us, and I adored him, and it was a privilege to get to know him, and we went swimming because you know the church people did the washing of the feet lesson, and that involved her washing everyone's feet, and then or like spritzing them, and then we all went swimming at the Y. And he needed someone who was with him the whole time, and let me fucking tell you, I could not keep up with this child. And I'm a solid swimmer. Like I swam team swam, and I was like. At one point, I just got up and I just kept running around the side of the pool until he went in the middle, and then I would jump back in, and then I just keep running around because I was like, I can't keep up with it. This kid is too fast. And like, you know, I kept telling him like, wow, you're such a good swimmer, and he was so excited to tell me things.
There you go.
Like he was attached to me at the hip, and I loved it. I loved every second of that shit. You know, I love my kid. I love kids, but. He was like one girl, she like if I needed to go get him, like we had breakfast, so I went to go get him like orange juice, and I was like, you know, Starry here, like, you know, she's gonna sit here with you, and one of our like teenagers was like, you know, hey, that's cool. I said, okay, if I sit here, and he goes, yes, only until Nicole comes back though, and then you have to leave, and I'm like. Like the teenagers don't understand really, so I'm just like, these poor kids think that he's just like, fuck you. And I'm like, no, it's just, you know, kids with, you know, autism, you know, especially, they have preferences.
Oh yeah, they sure do.
I was his preference as of the minute he heard that I was his counselor only for him.
Oh,
and he was very sweet. Excited.
There you go.
Here's my little.
That's cool.
I did think of you though, because like at one point he said like, oh, I have extra clothes in case I have an accident and need to change, and I was like.
That's in case he falls into the pool, Nicole.
Yeah, all I kept thinking was like, you fucking better not, because I have never dealt with that. I hadn't mentally prepared for that part yet. I was like,
Nicole, you have said many a times that you want a baby.
Okay, let's not do this right now. Conversation's coming now.
I had when I was my first TA gig was at a different elementary school, and I had this one TA that I worked with that she had a stepdaughter that that had voiced very loudly that she wanted to have a baby. And she was like 16, 17 years old. And this TA didn't want to hear a fucking word about that. She was like, because she was very much like, you will not. You are too damn young. So this kid was like, oh no, I want to have a baby, blah, blah, blah. So she decided, the aide decided that one night, she just like busts into the kid's room and says, get up, baby's hungry. And the kid's like, what? She's like, oh no, you said you want a baby. This is part of it. You're going to get up. You got to get up right now. Oh, I want to go to bed. No, baby's hungry. And they had some words, and she went, and the kid went back to bed. 2 hours later, she went back into that room. Get up, baby's hungry again. Kid whines some more, and she did this for days. And on the third or fourth day, she's like, I don't want a baby anymore. She's like, you're right. You don't. And I ran into her a few years later, just because we were like, when you go to big field trips, you run into big groups. And I told her, I said to her, I remember this, and I tell this story frequently and fondly. And she's like, yeah, she still don't want any. Like, okay. What's she doing? Well, she's about to graduate college. Like, oh, that's how we're using our time, because baby's not hungry.
Good for her, though.
So, yeah. Oh,
Baby's hungry.
all right. So let's see.
Whenever my stepdad wanted me to be quiet, he would go baby sleeping when I was younger.
And then, like, when I went to see, when my mom got her new puppy a few years ago, she got a puppy at the ripe age of 80. And she was just like, oh, well, I just let him do this, or I let him do that. I'm like, no, baby wants your attention. Like, baby's nipping because baby wants your attention. You wanted a baby. And I'm like, I'm using life lessons from from 15 years ago, because you decided you wanted a freaking baby. Well, I'm tired. He's not, and baby needs you.
Your mother's sitting there cursing at you.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. All right. So let's see. What's your big project for the rest of this week?
I don't know. Well, I gotta ship the thing to Plastic Pizza tomorrow. Or not tomorrow, Monday. I keep thinking today's Sunday. And right now I'm like learning how to use metal clay. So as I'm doing that right now, and I have
Is that the crinkling that we're hearing off camera?
Yes. That is the parchment paper.
Okay.
Because I have a design underneath it, and I'm trying to mold the clay to the design. It's very, very, very difficult to use, and I don't like it. But I will not give up.
What's the benefit of using metal clay?
I can make a necklace. I can make a ring. I can make other shit. I don't know. I could probably make a metal piece and then add it to like a custom.
Okay.
I'm just trying to see if this will actually work in the first place, because I know you can use epoxy with metal afterwards. So I'm trying to see if I can even like make a shape before I say, oh, let's do this, because that shit's expensive. This was expensive. And I mean, I'm not even going to tell you how expensive, because you need to go, Nicole, when I tell you.
This is true. This is true.
Needless to say, if this looks good and I do decide to sell it, it's going to be expensive.
Okay.
But I think this is just going to be for me, like to try, like this piece specifically. It's just going to be for me to try.
All right.
We're coming to get you.
Cool. Very cool. All right. Well, let's see what else we had to announce. Well, I'll just. When is it? Excuse me. Oh, that's cool. Let's see. Art of World. All right. So Minnesota or Minneapolis hosts an event every year called Art a Whirl, and it is this year. It is May 17th through the 19th, and I don't know everything about it. This is my first year participating, and it is brought to you by the Northeast Minneapolis Art Association, and you have to be a member there to be able to get a, a booth. And there is an artist district in Minneapolis where like you have artist lofts and whatnot that they open up their doors for people to come and see what's going on, and can buy stuff there. And of course those doors are open, and then like neighboring businesses host artists, and people can set up uh, um, booths at participating facilities. And I believe I am at a brewery um, in the path of the event, and that's exciting. I'm still waiting for all of my details to be able to talk about it, but it's a big event, and I should have been doing this years ago. So I'm very excited to do this as my first time, um, but I don't know what to expect.
Have you ever
Um,
gone to it?
no, so I don't think I have. If I have, it was by accident. But it was highly recommended to join NEMA and to participate in this. So yeah, so I am participating, and I'm going to have screen prints, drawings, some paintings. I think I'm going to have some toys there, depending on the weather, or at least I will have a a digital display of my toys there, so that if need be, I get to sell some on the side or at a later date. Like I said, because I started screen printing again, it's like I have my first screen print done, and I'm very pleased with it. And I went back to basics because the very first print, when we were all shown in printmaking 2 how to do a screen print, we were all told we were all doing a hand drawn image. And then after the first 2 screen prints that we did, the first one was hand drawn, and the second one could be a combination of digital and hand drawn. I was pretty digital afterwards, and by digital, I would make collages, and then um, not fuss with them in Photoshop, but I would do these cyan, magenta, and yellow color separations in Photoshop, and then be able to turn them into something printable on a screen, or something that could be transferred onto a screen for screen printing. And that was me for like 3.5 years, and I loved almost every bit of it. You had some success, you had successes, and you had failures. Your failures you learn from. And like this week I went in to go make another print, and I exposed my screen. I put the emulsion in. We expose the screen to be able to wash it out, and you have your positive. And when I was washing out my screen, I watched the whole thing fall apart, and I was like, "Oh, isn't that nice?" It's like, oh, there's 3 hours pissed away or washed away into the basin. And I'm like, well, experience.
I was
I
thinking
was
of
like,
doing gel print, like starting to learn how to do gel print since I'm trying to like kind of get back into like doing the show, like getting into local shows and stuff. Like since I can, I shouldn't say
that's
since
cool.
I can, but since I'm going to try to do everything
Hmm.
soon again, and by soon I
Okay.
mean like this week. I'm gonna test out like what mixing resin feels like on my arms and
Oh, sure, sure.
all that stuff.
And then I was shown we have a vacuum chamber at the makers.
Oh, nice.
So I was like, so a guy told me that we had a vacuum chamber, and I was like, we do.
So you can make silicone molds.
I possibly can. I read when he after he told me this the other day, I was like, hey, when you get a moment, can you show me how it's used, how to use it? He's like, well, I can show you right now. I'm like, I don't have the minute right now. Like, I'm out the door. And so he's like, oh, it doesn't take long. So whenever, if you ever see me in here, just grab me and I'll help you. Okie doke. So I bought, thanks to Blick's clearance tables, some 10 cure silicone. So that's the stuff that works on 3D prints, right?
Yes.
And so like I'm going to make me a I'm going to see about using one of my making a pup mold and seeing if I can do it myself instead of paying somebody else to do it. So that
He should be a one piece mold, right?
nope.
He's two
But
parts.
well, you have to cut it. So like yes, it can be a one piece mold, but it doesn't just pop out like. Let's see where the hell? Oh, it's in the truck. Um, do I have one here? I don't even have one in this fucking room. What the hell? Well, that's piss poor. No,
You have your old pup up.
so it, the tail got modified to be pushed up against the body more, and that's cool. But the head would it doesn't pop out just like it requires cutting to open the mold up to pull it out. Um, so that's going to be the guy who did my last one said he was able to get like 25 before the molds broke down on him, and that's cool. Like
You
I
should
could
be
get
able to
20.
get more.
If I get 25 out of it, that's fine. Like
You
the
should be able to
silicone
get
only
more.
cost me $10. So um, yeah, just finished the letter now. All right, Kimmy, you got to post that picture. You got to post a picture of that so we can see what your letter looks like. But yeah, I got a couple extra like generic molds to make some stuff out of. And yeah, I got to order a gallon of resin and I don't know. I'm hopefully get some more pup-ups made in the next 2 weeks. So that I would like to have some made up for Art of Whirl and potentially, well, for Collected Con too. And yeah, and just to have on hand.
Ask you, when is that again?
That is in August, and I don't remember exactly when. Um, I've paid for my booth. I just don't have confirmation that I am. I paid for my booth. I don't have confirmation that I paid for August 3rd and 4th. So yeah, like I emailed. I have to email them to be like, I am set, right? So I could actually like get me a room and stuff.
Yeah.
Like Alicia's going to let me borrow her car so I can save what 3 times the only spend a third on gas than I would have if I took my truck. So that's that. The Artist Alley booths are like I don't know, they're small, but whatever. Like it's like so. Collected Con is just as like according to my calculations, Collected Con will be just as expensive as 5 Points, but only 7 hours away. So yeah. So maybe not just as expensive since I will have less hotels to pay for, but just like Chicago will be just as expensive as Brooklyn. Yeah. So I don't have any plans on going to. It's neat, like the worst thing I could say about Chicago is the best thing to do. The best thing about Chicago is going around it, um, because as just a person who wants to go from to not have to go through Chicago to as just a traveler, a cross country traveler, having to go through Chicago is terrible. Um, but there's cool things about it. The It's got some amazing museums, a lot of a lot of cool history there, lots of cool tours you can take. One of my buddies, let's see, I was last there, actually there to be there, uh, 3 years ago. My buddy got her P, got her PhD in infectious diseases right during the pandemic. Or I think she got it in 2021. And yeah, I drove out there to, dude, I don't like, yes, some deep dish pizza. But like, I went there to go see my buddy's graduation. I told her years ago that when we were back in 2015, when we were all encouraging her to get her doctorate, and her husband was incredibly supportive of this endeavor. And then while she was being incredibly supported during this endeavor, she had her child. But she finished it. She finished her PhD, defended it, and when and me and one of my buddies here. Uh, so my friend who got her PhD is from Texas, but she got her online. She got her doctorate uh, by virtue of the internet and stuff, right? And so my friend here and I did tell her when we were encouraging her to do this, it was like, if you do this and you graduate, we will be happy to drive out that 7 hours to see you graduate. And and she's like, I wasn't planning on going to a graduation. But because of all the pressure from her family to go do the ceremony and friends, etc., she her husband and child flew up to Chicago along with her brother and her dad to have this spectacle. And my buddy and I were very much planning to drive out of here and go see her graduate. So the day of us leaving, my buddy messages me and says, "Oh, I have COVID." And I'm like, "Oh, let the hotel know that I'm still going to be there." Because he had made the hotel reservation and stuff. And I was like, "Yep, I'm still going." like nothing says I can't go.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean,
so
he had
yeah, I
COVID,
went
not you.
to drove out there without my buddy, and we yeah, it was pretty cool. Like my friend's dad and her brother did not have the greatest mobility in the world, so we were all in downtown Chicago. We were staying in downtown Chicago, not too far from like Sheds Aquarium and the Field Museum and some of the other just solid things to see if your first time. But her dad, who had been in Chicago years prior, wanted to see the architecture and some other stuff just as a reminiscing thing. And I was happy to like be the shuttle. And so like there were a couple times where my friends wanted to have a few minutes of just personal time, and I would take their kid, and I would take their kid, the dad and the brother, and just like, oh, we're gonna go here, we'll meet you there and do whatever. And
Oh,
so it was fine, like happy to help. And like when we went to the commencement dinner, um, I was all ready to like pile us all up into Alicia's little car, and they're like, "No, we're gonna take an Uber for this, and you don't have to be the chauffeur." I was like, "You sure?" Like, yeah, dude, that's totally fine. Like you don't have to do this. So then we get to the facility where the commencement dinner is, and we're early, and just like all good, honest, God fearing people, we're early, and so her dad and I and my friends don't drink, and but I do, and her dad was just kind of like, oh, just like, well, we're waiting, and I said to him, I was like, do you drink wine? And he's like, well, on occasion. I'm like, will you drink wine with me at the bar? And he didn't miss a beat. He's like on his way to the bar with me. And so we killed a bottle of wine while we're waiting for the room to get made and blah blah blah. And my friend was like, and at the end she's like, my dad looked so thrilled to be able to talk to somebody and just enjoy a glass of wine. I appreciate that you were talking to him. Like, hey, no problem. It's kind of like it's what I do, Like we're gonna find some commonality to attach to, and we're just gonna get hammered, and it's gonna be a good time. And that's fine, because booze is a social lubricant.
So I've heard.
Yeah, and it's pretty okie doke. I thought I would be painting tonight, so when Alicia offered me wine, I was like, no, I'm going to be painting, and I'm going to be painting when we're done with paint club too. She's like, oh, because I said no, I have paint club. She's like, oh, you don't want to drink on that. I'm like, I don't care if I'm drinking and broadcasting. I care if I'm drinking and painting.
And working, yeah.
So, yeah. So that being said.
I get it.
Yeah. So now we have been doing this for an hour and a half, and we're gonna sign off very, very soon. So let's see over here, over there,
struggle bug right now with this.
Right there. Well, it's your first time, right?
It is a very difficult thing to work with. I should have probably picked not this hard, or I guess not a design like this that I'm trying to fuck with. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Oh, Dylan said deep dish pizza. When we went to Chicago in way back in Dickety 7. No, and in 2016, Alicia and I took a fun trip to Chicago, and we got pizza there based off of Anthony Bourdain's recommendation, and it was not a deep dish, and it was quite yummy. Alicia is not a fan of deep. She'll eat pan pizza. I didn't realize there was a difference between deep dish and pan pizza until a few years ago. But she will eat pan pizza sometimes. She'll eat pan pizza. She won't eat a deep dish. And I'm hit or miss on deep dish myself. So, got to find a commonality while you're traveling. So we found something that Anthony Bourdain recommended, and it was amazing. And in his recommendation, he just said, you got to hit your timing right because it's busy in surges. And when we were there, we showed up. It was like, oh, not a motherfucker in the building. And we made our order. I made small talk with the person at the front, and they just said, you missed the rush. Like, oh, very good. But when we said, by the time before we got our pizza, the next rush had already come in, and we're just like out the door. It's crazy. And we're like, wow. And yeah, it was amazing pizza. I could not tell you for the life of me what the pizza place was called.
Probably Google it.
But I know my keywords for how I found it in the first place, and I'm pretty certain I could just reverse engineer that. Yeah. At the same time, I'm pretty certain Anthony Bourdain was still alive at the time.
R.I.P. to that genius.
There's a lot. Yeah, he was still alive when we went. Yeah. So it is 9:30, and we're gonna call it quits for the
I get to
night.
teach early tomorrow.
Oh boy.
Yeah, because one mom wanted to go to church early, like the early mass or whatever, and I was like,
Oh,
okay.
there you
Which means I'm not teaching, which means I'm just nannying, which is fine, but
go. Well, there you go.
I was
All
just
right,
like,
so
yay.
so we're going to tell the good folks where they can find you at the Matt Hatches right
Oh
there.
God, I'm gonna start posting on Instagram this week at some point. Like I just haven't because I haven't had anything to post.
Well, you know,
Wait, hold on. Yeah, here.
I treat you know, I've been treating YouTube like a new social, like another social media thing where like I post shorts almost, I don't know, 2-3 times a week. I hardly do posts, but actual posts, but shorts and actual videos. I don't think I've got a new video. But anyway, so Rickstro over here. That's the web. It's that's the web, and there you go, and there you go. That's the web, Instagram, Threads, Facebook, YouTube, and yeah, everything. All right, it's everywhere, except Venmo. My Venmo is different.
You should just tell everyone what your Venmo is and see what happens.
Yeah. At color_whiz. There you go. All right. So I did. I actually posted on April Fool's that I got a Venmo. And was curious how that would go. And it was, whatever. All right. So we'll see you next week. Go make something and be proud of it. So, yeah. Enjoy. Good night.